Hi guys, welcome to the Soul and Soma Talk podcast. I wanted to give you a little heads up before you listen to this episode. Because this conversation is so full of magic, energy, and deep truth, there are moments where you'll hear a little bit of interference in the audio. It's not all throughout the episode, it's just in small pockets, and the sound is still completely, you can still hear things, what we're talking about. The messages that came through are so powerful and grounded and absolutely worth hearing, and I didn't want to edit this one too heavily because the rawness is part of the medicine. The rawness is part of what we were talking about today. So if you notice a few crackles or interruptions, just know the magic was really strong today when I recorded this episode with Ruby, and obviously it's all about magic. So let's drop in and listen to this episode. Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Soul and Soma Talk. I'm your host Barbara Thompson, and today I've got the beautiful Ruby Chapman with me. She is the co-founder of Zensi, have I said that right?
Zensi, yeah.
No, I went Zensi Retreat.
I know, we kept it a bit mysterious with how to say it, so people will either guess 50-50, either or.
I want to say it right because it's such a beautiful, beautiful place. Zensi Retreat, she's the co-founder. And I was just thinking of how to describe Ruby because she's got so many beautiful facets of stuff that I'm into and I know that you guys are into. So we kind of looked at it, and I love what she does is she kind of is alchemizing life experiences into wisdom. So this is we're going to explore that more in a minute. But today is all about stepping into your magic, which sounds really, really powerful. So if you've joined us for this, because you said, I want to step into my magic, I want to welcome you. Ruby and I know we're going to have a fantastic conversation, but what we're going to do right now is something I haven't done on my podcast before. I'm going to hand it over to Ruby. I'm going to obviously welcome her to this episode, but she's going to take us through a 1 or 2 minute grounding exercise before we talk. So Hi, Ruby.
Hi, Barbara. Thank you for that beautiful intro. I really appreciate that. And I know we could do probably hours worth of podcast based on our voice notes that we did to each other that kept over timing those 5 minutes. I'm really excited to be here, and I do believe that anyone that's listening to this, you're here for a reason as well. You hear whatever that little phrase could be, or it could be a story that resonates in your life or something else that's been in the background for you. So I hope that you also receive what it is that you need from Barbara and I being here together today.
Yeah.
So I thought that, yes, it is probably suitable idea to just spend a moment to really ground into this presence before we actually move forward with our conversation, so we can connect in, so anyone that's listening can also enjoy that and come into their bodies, because that's been a big journey of my life, really, is going through that journey of really reconnecting with myself on all the different layers. So wherever that you are, whether it's sitting on a lounge, sitting listening whilst you're on the bus to work, or whatever it is, you can do this in any particular environment. You don't need to close your eyes if you don't want to. So it's really about what works. But I'm going to suggest first coming into awareness of your body, the weight of your body, in relation to the ground or whatever it is that you're sitting on. So that might be feeling your sit bones, feeling your feet, and feeling whatever that is come to meet you as well. You might also want to invite in breath that is organic and natural, doesn't need to be forced, but just see if it wants to come through the body, rise up, and just something that falls out naturally. And you might want to do a few and just notice the effects that has on yourself physically. And even with keeping your eyes open, perhaps have a look around your environment, just kind of glazing over anything that grabs your attention. Doesn't need a story, doesn't need a name. Just using your sense of your sight to bring you into exactly where you are in this present now. Noticing any sounds around the space that you're in, or if there's anything that's maybe in the distance as well. Perhaps playing with the changing of the sounds. Also just relaxing the muscles around the face. Any of those excess muscles that maybe you're holding on that don't need to, around the eyes, the jaw, the forehead. And allow that same sense of relaxation, of easefulness, of softness, just to flow down the whole body, making your way back down to your feet. Perhaps a little gentle smile on the face wants to awaken you into this moment as we now move into our podcast together.
That was beautiful.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, well.
It's interesting because when you're going to hear that back, there is, I know people that listen to my podcast are into this kind of stuff. I could hear spirit or something literally playing with your voice. So at the end of when you're doing the grounding, it sounds a little, not robotic, but it sounds a little bit like there's something happening there, which is so interesting.
That is interesting. It's something that I really want to deepen into. I'm actually doing my meditation teacher training course at the moment. Meditation's been a big part of my life since I was like in my early 20s, but I do find once I can get into a flow, depending on what day it is and where I'm at in myself, it does feel like something's actually speaking through me, and that it just goes places that I don't intend to at all. Like I don't plan what I'm going to say. So yeah, it's actually quite fun, and it does bring up a little bit of sometimes that slight nervousness of like, oh, I'm leading something. I'm not used to always being in that leadership role. So yeah, it's kind of again like pushing up against a new edge when you do that more, and so it's a really fun thing to explore. Yeah.
And I think thank you for taking us through that, because I don't think many people do just stop and take a moment. I certainly don't, and I should. I do live an intentional life, though. I am intentional with everything I do and say. I'm not perfect.
None of us are.
No, but I'm trying every day to be more intentional with my thoughts and how I talk, everything around the house. Like just, it takes a while, takes a long time, but yeah, everything is connected, everything is energetics, everything is. So I think starting this podcast off, because we're talking about magic, this grounding exercise, I hope that everyone feels ready to listen to our chat today. So
yes,
I think we've got to start with, because I know when I listen to a podcast, I want to know a little bit about the person. I just want to know a little bit about you, Ruby, like anything that you feel comfortable with sharing today. Like a little bit about, it's such a hard thing to answer. When I've been a guest on a podcast, everyone's like, Barbara, tell us a bit about you. I'm like, oh my God, like,
yeah.
I don't know. So I don't know. What do you want to share with us today if anyone's listening to this, just so they can understand a little bit about like who you are, maybe even sharing where you are right now?
Yeah, cool. It's always it's always an interesting question to ask, because it's such a simple question when you think of, oh, who are you? It's like a very it depends on what layer you want to come in on that question as. Are we talking the layer of everyday conversation of like who you are, what you do, and all that? Or you want to go into the deeply spiritual answer? So it's like sometimes I get a bit confused which one I wanna showcase, and it's all about your own perception of yourself too. But I'll keep it somewhat simple. So yes, my name is Ruby. That's what I'm called. I'm currently at Zensi. So I'm the co-founder of Zensi Retreat, which is a luxury wellness space that I built with my husband. And it's been running for about 2 years now. And it, it's the way I would describe Zensi is just then, like that breath of like a sigh out. It's a sigh out for the soul. And it's a space that has been energetically, emotionally, spiritually, physically, just so considered and curated through what I want the experience to be. And so, yeah, it was a really big journey building this, but that's been the last year. That's been the last few years of my life has been part of building this creation and then having it serve and support people, whether it's people running their own retreats, so facilitators that want to run their own thing, whether it's people just wanting to get away with their girls or have a family vacay, or even just couples want to have an immersive experience. So it's kind of like, yeah, you can get what you want from this place. If you just want to have a good time or whatever, cool, that's great. But we want it to be merging living mindfully and living in a way of holistically merge with also enjoying yourself because we are in a beautiful wine region as well. So it's kind of like it's a balance of life and making life about your well-being. So that's my Zensi category of my identity. um, as a as a human on this earth, I'm just a human having a human experience with its own challenges and triumphs. And I do believe I am here because sometimes I'm like, why do I put myself in all these challenging situations? But I do believe my soul is here for growth and its own evolution, that I'm here to share outwards that can be transmuted to serve and support other people. And that's where I've found myself throughout all these past years. And it's continuing. You know, you can do a heap of your self work and go on all the journeys, but it doesn't make it necessarily easier. It just puts you in deeper alignment with yourself, and it allows you to move through things with a bit more grace. But it doesn't, from right now, from my own personal part of my life, which is very challenging at this point, it's just there to align you closer to your truth. So that's really what I am, yeah, what I'm doing in real time.
Mm.
Mm.
What has pulled you into doing what you do now? Like you embody this. So the Zenzi retreat and energy and all that spiritual stuff.
Mhm.
I can see that you embody it and you live it. Like, have you always been this way?
I'm getting all these goosebumps. I feel like there's, there's just a lot here with me right now. Wow. Look, I feel that I have always felt a little bit different. And I've always been, as a child, very, very deeply feeling. I'm a what you call a HSP, a highly sensitive person, which I didn't know was actually an actual thing until the last few years. But apparently, 20% of people are actually classified as highly sensitive. So everything we experience is on a deeper layer, and it makes life even more full and big to experience and journey through, but it's also a gift at the same time. So even though it can come with its challenges, it's a gift to actually quite deeply fall into that space of healing for others and supporting others because of how much you experience. I'd say that I've gone on this journey. It started probably from my teen, your own childhood subjective experiences all play a role in where you go into your healing and your transformations as you become a bit more aware of yourself and conscious. But I'd say I had a pretty challenging childhood in the sense of like I grew up having an eating disorder, which was pretty disruptive to health, to your relationship with yourself. And that outplays into yourself as your older teenage self. And so that was a big part of my life that has only the last 5 or so years, I've really become true and clear and healed that element of my relationship in my body, which is a huge topic. That can be a whole separate podcast. And knowing that I'm unhappy with the things that how I'm experiencing life as well. So it took me on a bit of a path into exploration. And I also did a lot of drugs when I was younger, which was experimental and exploratory, but that also yeah, not that I regret anything, but it showed me a lot going through that different stage too. And then when I was younger, like 21, my dad passed away suddenly. But that's where it like really, that's where the journey actually begun. Because at 21, like, you're just, a 21-year-old doing life. And I know I was always more mature and more living probably a little bit more consciously than maybe some 21-year-olds, without not saying that with judgment, but that's how I perceive. And then when dad passed away, that threw me into the whole abyss of what is life about? What the F is this? What is the point of all of this? Why are we? It'll make me emotional actually thinking back into that. It's like, what what are we doing all here? And then it gave me this like huge push of, oh my God, I could die at any point. What do I like? Just what is just the word what going on? And it was very difficult, and I could see I wasn't coping on the nervous system level, because by that stage I was already doing some yoga and doing it. It was funny actually. I'll backtrack a bit. I started doing some yogas into the gym, into all that stuff, because you're so obsessed with your body and your self-worth attached to your body and all of that. But I eventually started getting into yoga. But I remember my first yoga class, I was the one that walked out in Shavasana. So it's funny to see like the full circle around. It's like now all I want to do is Shavasana. Like I just want to lie down. So it's really quite interesting to see where you were and where you are. But little dribs and drabs of things, like little seeds and like breadcrumbs, were leading me in the right direction. And I found meditation. And that was really, really helpful. And yeah, just starting to learn. I really got into the phase of, I want to understand myself. I want to understand, why am I the way I am? Why do I react like that? Why am I feeling these certain things? And not in a way of like analyzing, but just curiosity. And that inquisitiveness, which is a big trait of mine, led me deeper into the spiritual experiences and going down that path. Yeah, that's one kind of big chunk of the chapter.
That makes sense though. It makes sense that when we're 21, we all think I can't speak for everyone, but you think that, yeah, when you're a kid and this is my own experience.
Yeah.
It's all about you, really. Like, it's your friends and it's your life. And then when you turn 21, you feel a bit invincible and you're kind of like, this is my world. And then when something like that, especially when you lose a parent at any age, I don't care how old you are, it's such a pivotal point in your life. And so then that makes sense for you to go, who am I? What makes me tick? And also the sudden that opens up to the spiritual, what happens when you pass away and where is my dad now? And it makes you question life and everything you share. Thank you for being so vulnerable, because it shows the steps of, when someone embodies what they practice, you don't just go, oh, I'm just going to do yoga, I'm just going to do meditation. All of these modalities work, but there's a purpose behind them. And if you connect your why to the actual thing, that's where the power is. A lot of people do it and go, oh, I can't meditate, or I can't do this. Well, you can, but once you connect the why with why you're doing it and feel the effects, and do. So I love that you did that. And a lot of what you're sharing, I think, is something about pushing past your comfort zone. You could have gone back to the drug days. You could have gone back to really controlling because you wanted to control everything. Like, that could be another side of you, right?
100%. Yes. Huge part of my life, even up until now, is about letting go of control, or knowing that, I don't know, there's a bit of a paradox, but knowing that you actually are creating reality. So that's a whole energetic thing, but also surrendering the control as well. It can be a bit confusing, but I also know that there's something very much about leaning in fully into surrendering and trusting, and also knowing though that you are a powerful being and that you are collaborating with the universe as well. So that's come a lot over the journey into the energetic world that I then continue to get into.
Okay.
And I think you see it. That's why it's good to be having this podcast today. It's about the magic, because I've definitely experienced weird magic things in my life as well.
It is magic. I've got a question for you, because I know a lot of people that listen to my podcast, are perfectionists or like to control things. And so, what's something that you could share with us that's energetically aligned that helps people understand that you actually can't control like it's so interesting because people like to control things and be like people go, oh my God, I'm such a perfectionist, or everything has to be clean, I'm OCD, any of those kind of traits. When you take a step back, whatever people believe in here, whether it's a higher spiritual being, the universe, whatever language you use, that's in control. You're not in control. So how can we kind of explain to someone listening that if they like to control things and what am I trying to ask you?
I understand.
More
Like,
like the letting go part, like how people can listen to this and go, oh, yeah, all good and well, Ruby and Barbara, you're telling me to let go, but I'm
yeah,
someone that likes control in my life. How do I let go? And what's
yeah.
the why would I? There you
Mm.
go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, I get it. Not that I'm the control type of like I do need everything to be a specific way or like the OCD or certain things, but it's more what it actually comes down to is there's a resistance there, and it's nervous system, and it's our subconscious belief systems around things too. So it's really coming down like we form beliefs throughout our lives when something's happened over and over and over. So then we create that as like a neural pathway that says, hey, this is a thing. Doesn't mean it's true. Um, and then there's also like with our nervous systems, it's kind of like our primordial biology is taking control. It needs to know so it can feel a sense of safety, which is just a perception of things anyway. So we're just trying to find ways to make ourselves feel safe by trying to control things. It could be something so small. So it's just like it's starting to ask yourself the questions and just starting to become more um, like starting to observe a little bit more of your choices and behaviors. And because it's so easy to skim past something by just saying that's just the way I am, or oh, I just like it like that, rather than just not just, but it can be difficult. It's a journey of you being really honest with yourself, and it is a process because you're removing layers by layers by layers to getting down to the core belief system that you maybe didn't realize was there. So it is going on a journey, and it's not something you may find straight away. Working with like subconscious coaches and things like that can be really helpful and interesting, but really you are your own teacher. Everything is there, but we do need to go on our own process if we feel ready to. Sometimes things are serving us, though. It might not look like it from the outset, but in some way, our nervous system does really need that at that moment. So I don't want to say that it's wrong that you feel that way or that you shouldn't, because it might be doing something that you need at this point. But ideally, the aim is that you can feel safe and that your body feels and you feel mentally, psychologically okay if things aren't in your control in certain circumstances. And it's the acceptance and it's the moving through it, which is uncomfortable. It
Yeah.
can, it's none of these things are ever easy or comfortable or simple, usually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Until it does become. There's a point where it does become because you've grown more awareness and you've created different pathways in your brain, and that it's like there's little micro habit shifts, and it's just rewiring things a little bit and knowing yourself a little bit deeper as to, oh, I can see that I feel. So instead of me judging myself or thinking that I shouldn't try to be making this perfection aspect of the work that I'm doing, what am I resisting in that? Like am I resisting feeling like I'm a failure or that I'm not good enough or something of those like core belief systems we all tend to have behind it.
Mm.
Does that kind of make sense? Does the
Yeah,
rest
it
make sense?
does. And I think a lot of people feel discomfort is danger. So a lot of people, from my perspective as a therapist, I see so many people that will say, I've been thinking about seeing someone like you for a long time, but it comes and goes, right? So most people, how we deal with the big things and the little things in life, because we can't discount the little things because
Mhm.
they matter just as much as the big things, but
Totally.
we push them down because we've got to get on with life. We know
Yeah.
we can't feel the feelings. We're scared that they're going to swallow us whole and take over. So people push things down, and then it gets to a point where they're like, I want to talk to someone, but then that's also scary
Mm.
because
It
it's a
means talking about.
stranger and oh my
Yeah.
gosh, what am I going to feel like? But what I hear from people is once they find the right person and if it the right modality for them, so it doesn't have
Mm.
to be therapy, it could be meditation, it could be yoga, it could be so many other things.
Yeah.
Once you find your thing, we can't be hard on ourselves too, because most of the time people go, oh, I wish I did this years ago. But years ago, you weren't ready. Now
Ready.
you're ready.
Yeah. Divine timings with everything. With everything. Yeah.
That's when we talk about magic. So,
Mhm.
one thing that I've learned through the years, because
Mm.
this we take small steps to learn these things,
Yeah.
is every single person we meet has been orchestrated. So you and I have met because there must have been an agreement before our souls came down that, hey, we're going to meet and we're going to do this podcast and we're going to do some things together. And
Mhm.
I'm here to learn things from you and vice versa. But that's
Mhm.
cool. Like, even if I say to people when you're walking the dog tomorrow or you're going for a run and you see someone, oh, hey, how are you? Good. That has been orchestrated too. I don't want to freak people out, but we're talking about the magic. Like I want to bring more good stuff into people's lives. I want them to feel safe and to feel like there is magic in this life when there's so many dark things that are happening.
Mhm. Mhm. There is magic, and like, yeah, I like that you've brought up the aspects of like orchestration because it can be really difficult. Our brains want to logically understand this. I try to have these conversations with my mum, and I never know why I do because I need to understand. She doesn't. It's not going to go anywhere. So for me, I try to be knowing that there's nowhere that I can understand the orchestration of the universe and how the timeliness of things in the minuscule magic things that you notice, as well as the big pivotal shifts that happen in life through things that start to come into your field and just take you a different direction that you weren't expecting. And sometimes we also like a big something rather like you've lost your job, people think, oh shit, that's a bad thing, that's a negative thing, or someone dies or something that we do classify as being really challenging. If we could see that as that's actually an opportunity, these things are happening around you for a particular reason. And we can't always understand the reason, but down the track, there's usually some ahas that come into it all.
Mm.
Yeah.
And actually, how perfect is this? Is in the weekend, I actually watched a series on Netflix, which doesn't happen often, and it's actually called Ripple, Ripple, and it's all about what we're talking about is there's all these people in New York that are all connected through
Mm-hmm.
meeting
Mm-hmm.
because something has happened, but it's all orchestrated that
Mm-hmm.
because this person met this person, this thing happened.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to give away too much, but it's interesting. It's all these individuals that are living in New York that brush past each other, and
Uh,
each one has a knock-on effect.
correlation to one another.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
called ripple. It's obviously the ripple effect,
That
but
sounds cool. Yeah, I'm going to
it's
watch that.
interesting that I watched it and now we're talking about it. That's even this is
Mm-hmm.
the magic of life.
Yeah. Oh, the magic. What I've noticed as well is when life is really pushing a certain direction for you, and if you are non-resisting and you are just so in it, even though you can't even see the next step, I can say for sure, magic just turns up. It dials itself up. The synchronicities that start to occur. I think it's really about the synchronicities. Um, about you walking into a certain place and it's playing a song that you're like, how could this song? Like I was in Peru and it's like there was this song on, and I'm like, how is this song playing here right now? And it's like my song, and or having a conversation.
Peru.
Yeah, yeah, in Peru, or having a conversation with someone that is already something you were thinking about doing, and then they're actually doing it, and you're like, oh, well, it's just that the things that align and merge together is really very, very magical. And sometimes you just don't realize that we need to lessen the control of what we think our lives should be doing.
Yeah.
We're not. we are in a driver's seat, but we're not the shuttle. The shuttle is going to go, but we are somewhat collaborating and dancing with it too.
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
Kind of
Yeah,
going.
it's so interesting because when people don't know whether you're sitting on, do we sell the house, do we buy the house, do I start dating this person, do I not, do I take the new job, do I not, like so many life
Mm,
decisions. And you just said then we don't know the next step. The reason why we don't know the next step is we're not supposed to know the next step. And I know that
exactly.
frustrates so many people. It's just like, just tell me. But
Mm,
the human condition around certainty is, I think, almost like from my point of view, the number one thing. If you can let go of certainty and
hmm
just know whatever happens is in your favor, which is a very difficult thing to sit and practice, that's part of the letting go. Letting go is whatever happens, I know I'll be taken care of and everything will be okay. And oh my God, I've lost my job and I've got no money. This doesn't make sense. I'm totally with you. It doesn't make
hmm
sense. But there's a
hmm
reason for it. So let's just sit in it and be like, cool, I've lost my there's a guy on social media who I follow called David Guillaume. He's a Kabbalah teacher.
Okay.
And I like him for just, he explains it in a simple way. And he's big on that thing. He's like, if you're bankrupt, fantastic. I'm bankrupt. How amazing is this? What's the darkness and the light? There's going to be good. And he really tells the students that whatever is happening in your life to go, thank you. And he goes, I know it sounds weird, but he's like, when he had no money and he was walking down New York, he would look at all the things and be like, oh, thank God I've got no money and I'm 6 months behind on my rent. Thank you, universe. What are you trying to show me? And he goes, I know I sound like a nutter. But he's like, the more you do and the more you give yourself over and be like, yeah, cool, this has happened. Show me. Show
hmm
me why this is happening.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's so strong. It's like when you just said the words "give it over" because it is truly you're giving something into something greater than yourself, which we are all collectively connected within, and it's terrifying.
Yeah.
I, believe me, I'm in it right now. It's terrifying. It's inconvenient sometimes, or it's perceived as inconvenient, but it's like, am I supposed to be doing what's the most safe, comfortable, and smooth path of what my ego, what my narrative tells me is, or am I here to do what my soul is wanting me to do? What is guiding me right now, and what one should I be listening to? And that can be difficult, but you can't ignore the soul, is what my recent lesson is because it's not going to go away is what I've come to in my personal experiences thus far is what's truly there as uncomfortable as it might be when you accept it and you, as you're saying, sit with it. There's this sense of spaciousness and relief when you're like, oh, that is actually what the soul wants. It means, oh, I don't want to sell my house, but oh, actually my soul actually wants me to do that. Don't know why, but I really need to follow that.
Yeah. And I have a
Could be
perfect
hard.
example. I've got a perfect personal example. So
Mm-hmm.
I've been a therapist for 5 years. I've been working
Yeah.
for myself for 5 years. But before that, I was in marketing
Mm-hmm.
and earning 3 times of what I earn now.
Mm-hmm.
Company car, everything. So there are times, if business owners are listening to this, as you know too, so many times where over the 5 years, even sometimes I get it, I think I've had it about twice this year. Oh, it'd be so much easier if I work for someone else. Why don't I just go get a marketing job? I don't
Mm-hmm.
have to worry about like,
Yeah.
the work that you do and I do is heavy. It's a lot. It's
Running your own ship is not easy. Yeah.
yeah, right. And so there are times that I often fantasize about maybe I just go back to marketing and do this. Oh no, I can't because I know when you sing your soul, I know what I'm doing. I finally, and it took me to my 40s to be
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, but if
Yep.
you asked me at 38 or 39, someone tapped me on the shoulder and said, do you know you're going to be a therapist? I would have gone, sorry, what?
Yeah. Yep.
I'm not.
Exactly.
Run a own business. Like maybe I think I always had the makings of doing something, but
Mm-hmm.
never that. And oh my God, I can't hold that many people's emotions and help them. And what? Who, imposter syndrome? Who am I?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
Mm-hmm.
in that short amount of time, I want to say to people that I followed my gut, and every person I met in that 5 years helped me to be where I am today and have
Mm-hmm.
my private practice. But
Mm-hmm.
yes, it still tests us, doesn't it? It's still like, even
Mm-hmm.
if that's our sole purpose. From a human point of view, I could be earning 3 times as much as what I'm doing now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. It can sometimes be the challenge of Yeah, money is a whole separate topic. The idea of how we relate to money, our relationship with finance, our relationship with scarcity, and lack, feeling the the fear of lack and all of that, which is all just belief systems. None of that stuff. It's nothing's real. What's real is what we make it real. Um, but oh, what was I going to say about that? I hear you fully on that one in the sense of like just the current scenario that I'm in, as much as there's parts of me that it does really align with a certain circumstance and I would love to do it. And there's this bit of an ego in saying that I have achieved it and it's going to be challenging. But I know that it's going to affect my health, my peace. And when you come down to your values, I think with any decisions, write down a few of your main values and make, for example, I want peace. I don't want to be stressed. I think no one wants to, but I'm not willing to affect my health or my stability or anything like that on my own well-being to achieve that, even if it's a short-term thing. It's just not where I am at. And yeah, there's other little values there, but I realize it's not aligning with some that actually are priority right now. And as life changing as an opportunity it is, and as yeah, just because something is a huge opportunity and we make all these, oh, I should do it because of X, Y, Z on the logical criterias, in my heart and inside my body, it's saying you shouldn't do this. It's like you see a bit of a fire up ahead and you're like, I'm not in the fire now, but I know that I have enough understandings that it's not the right scenario. So it's also really listening and being, can be hard sometimes to choose over what you think you should do.
Hmm. You know
Or
what
what,
I was going to say to you after that? I was going to say to you, it's like letting go of who you should be, and you
mm-hmm,
said should.
mm-hmm, the shoulds. Yeah. There is a letting go. Yeah, there's definitely the narratives, the dialogues, the identity attached to the things that you do. There's so much to it. But I know that you mentioned before about sitting with things, and I was sitting with a lot of the stuff this morning, and just bringing in lightness. You're like, oh, why does this all it from the outset? Yes, these are all extremely serious topics that change your life and la la la. But I'm like, why does it have to all be so serious? Like, if I die in 5 years, I'm looking back now, do I really want to think that I used this whole time being stressed out and taking it all so freaking serious?
Hmm.
So yeah, I think I do that sometimes and get out of the narrative. Like, oh, look at the storyline that I'm creating around this and how much attachment to all the things that I'm forming. And that's what's making it feel pressured and confining rather than, okay, let's just go with what's here and let's just go for the ride, just day by day, bit by bit on what feels true.
Hmm. That's really letting go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the letting go. And there's also like a bit more, if it can be taken like with like you were saying about that man walking through New York with, oh, thank you. These are really challenging things, but like this is here for me for a reason.
Yeah.
Maybe I can try and have some fun with this. Like
Yeah.
maybe this doesn't actually have to be doom and gloom things. And how can I actually maybe find a way of enjoying some of the difficult emotions or experiences?
Mm.
There's this really cool guy I listen to called Joe Hudson, Art of Accomplishment, and he really changed the game for me. Maybe like 6 months ago, I was living in Peru. I don't know. Yeah, I've told you some of this. I was living in Peru for 6 months by myself up in a mountain. Fantastic. It was also really challenging, but I was dealing with some emotions that I could see I was resisting a lot. And I was resisting even the fact that I wanted to rest more. But I kept doing more work instead and thinking that I should go out and do my day and do things. And the idea of, hey, if you just want to keep your blinds closed for the day, or you're just in a lull, how can I just love that lull? How can I hold that lull and just have it be as it is? Why do I need to attach that it's wrong or bad or something's wrong with me because I'm feeling a bit low about this certain moment in my life? Like there's nothing wrong with that. Remove all the labels and it's just an experience. Yeah.
So now we've talked about you living in the mountains in Peru. You know, people would want to know, oh my God, what was that like?
Yeah. Well, it's
Does
very
it
different.
sound like it is? Like you're actually living in a little hut in a mountain of, I haven't been to Peru, so what
Mhm.
is it like?
Oh my gosh, my soul just lights up when I feel into it. But this is about magic. This is actually a really magical story. So I will go through maybe a bit of the timeline of how this all occurred because it was not ever in the periphery exactly that that's what I was going to do. So um, for some years prior, I was doing my Reiki energetic courses and really deepening into that field. And I remember one of the times I had this drop in of insight. I call it from my higher self. Gives me a bit of information, just comes straight in. Says you're going to meet your spirit guides in the Andes. And I was like, huh? Okay, I don't even know where the Andes is. Let me look that up. And I thought it was in India. I realized it's in Peru. I was like, interesting. I was like, okay, cool. Well, that's not going to happen because I'm not going to Peru. So whatever. Then a couple of years go past and I met this woman that I was wanting to collaborate with a retreat. And she says, oh, I'm going to a pilgrimage in Peru. And as soon as she said that, I was like, I'm coming. I was like, oh, wow, that's what I'm doing. Oh, okay. That's why we're speaking right now. But there was so much fear around that. First of all, I've been with my husband, my husband for 15 years. So I've been with him since I was 18. We're very, very merged. And so that's a whole nother topic in itself and going through some big changes at the moment. But the idea of even traveling without him was was a fear. That's a discomfort because he's the organizer. I'm the one that just free flows. I make a lot of errors, and that is just a belief system I also need to say. I want to retract that sentence, but yeah, it's just not my strongest point. That's all. So the idea of doing that seemed extremely uncomfortable and not aligned with maybe how others would like, being in a relationship and doing that and going on this venture overseas by myself and doing plant medicine over there and that type of stuff and going on this huge journey. And I wouldn't have done it if at the time, I wouldn't have just gone if someone else didn't say they were going with me. Turns out the girl that said it, she ended up not going. And so I ended up actually just going by myself. So that was huge. That was, as soon as I landed there, I felt the resonance that I have been here before. The smell in the air just spoke to me. It's like this is in my DNA somehow. And yeah, it was a really empowering experience. It's in the Sacred Valley, which is the most remarkable place to be. The culture, the wisdom, the magical questions around these ancient sacred sites, which have no one has an answer for. I just love that there's so much mystery there. And because I'm so energetically attuned, I could very much feel into all these different places. And I'll tell a bit more on that later. So anyway, did a month pilgrimage there with this incredible retreat with this woman, and it really changed my life. I was in a bit of a heavy place as well, moving through some different stages and questioning a lot of things about choices in my life and whatnot. And then I came back, and then my husband's decided that he's not happy doing what he's doing, and let's just sell our stuff and go at the end of the year. Because I said I'd like to maybe live here one day. One day, thinking like 5 years, like we just finished building this retreat, and how I didn't think that was even a thing. But he's very ambitious, so he pushed that forward and made that happen. So we travelled for some months through some of South America and a few other places, and then we stayed in Peru. We found, oh, this is another magical part. A lot of synchronicities are happening throughout, just the people you'd meet or the conversations or, you know, just all the little things. And I found this perfect house. I was trying to find the right place to live because we were going to settle there for yes, 9 months technically. And turns out I wasn't looking. I was done looking. I looked at a few because I was there by myself at the start. I know this story is getting a bit confusing, but I was there for like a month prior to my husband coming. So I was supposed to be finding a place and nothing was ticking the boxes. And I remember walking outside saying, well, to the forest. I was like, look, I don't I don't want to look anymore. You bring something to me, whether it's through someone else or whatever, you bring it to me. And then a couple of days later, my husband wasn't the one searching, I was, but he looked up something. He looked it up and it was came on the market that day that he looked. So no one else had even seen it. He was pretty much the first person that saw it. And he's like, hey, this one popped up. And I kid you not, it ticked every single box of my potential manifestations of what I'd like the place to be. It was it is a dream. I had no neighbors. It's on a strawberry farm. It was brand new. The house was no one else had lived in it. It was built the day one day before I stayed. Um, it was had a bath. It just had all the views. Oh my gosh, the views of these mountains. And it's hiking right from outside your door. It was just incredible. So yeah, we found that, we moved into that, and part of my life's journey though was to have some space by myself. And so I realized a couple months in that I'm actually meant to be here solo, and this is my time that I've been kind of pushing away. So yeah, he went back and did some other stuff in Australia and did some more journeying, and I ended up spending 6 months there on my own. Yeah, and that was a breath, the breath that I've needed to take my whole life. Um, and I thought I'd be doing lots of things. I thought, oh, this is, I'm in this beautiful valley. There's lots of cool experiences to do here. There's lots of sights to see. It's like a dream place really. But I pretty much did barely anything because I just wanted to be in my own space and rest and lie outside and do my poetry and do some writing because that's my creative venture is in that space, and dance around the house by myself and whatever it was. So it was a big time, but it was divinely led, because it was actually where I first started my pilgrimage too, by the way. So this house was exactly the first, right next to where I begun the pilgrimage when I came to prior. So that was pretty magical.
So can I ask, I don't know what pilgrimage is. What is it?
Oh, a pilgrimage is kind of like a spiritual quest. You're going to sacred sites, and so it's kind of like a pilgrim is someone that walks, they trail to go to sites and do activations, do gifts to the earth, do rituals, do energetic work, really, that you receive through the land, because those spots is what they've used to do their own rituals for thousands and thousands of years. So even to be in this particular cave that has these weird, all those stones that are like melded into one another, and how this is possible. So clearly there was, some sort of ancient beings, galactic something or other there, because they still don't have the answers. And so it's very, very energetically strong places to go to, and set intentions and work with things. So it's very different to a retreat. And it has retreat elements. You still do like nice yoga in the morning, whatever, but then other days you're trekking and going into these places. It's just magic. It's really magic. Yeah.
Wow. And you also mentioned plant medicine, which I do we'll do something later on at a later date, because
Yeah.
I'd love to know more about that.
That should be a whole separate podcast because it's a big topic. It's a big one. Yeah.
Let us set that aside, because I'm going to be selfish for a minute. It's my podcast and I want to learn more about plant medicine.
Yeah,
so
cool.
I'll hit you up for another episode about that.
Yeah, no, I'd love to share with you and share anyone else that's intrigued of it, because it's a category that is just like bursting into the world right now, because obviously there is such a collective shift going on, and I think people are seeking, even if maybe they're not. There's a fine line between going into that realm of plant medicine and where you are at your own journey. So it's a little bit like, this is an interesting case, and it's also becoming now an industry, because there's so much Westerners and people going out searching for it. I'm noticing that it can start to taint a little bit of the culture and the wisdom and the usage of it. It's sacred, it is intelligent, it's dangerous too if it's not done in the right space with the right people, with you even. It might not even be suitable for you as well. So there's a lot. It's a really interesting multifaceted topic we can jump into. And my experience was, I've done plant medicines in my time, and like, mushrooms have been a big part of my past in my own ways, with a lot of healing. Wow, a lot of healing through that. Um, but yeah, there's yeah. I don't know how far you want me to go into this, because I could just start rambling, but it's
We'll save it for another
yeah.
episode. I
Let's
think
say
it,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
really, it is interesting. Yeah,
yeah.
so many avenues of plant medicine as well. So, yeah, well, I definitely want to talk about it later. But I think
If
everything,
you're interested, listen to the next one.
yeah, I think everything that you shared with is all about trust and faith and surrender. And like again, incorporating what I said, meeting everyone for a reason. You met that lady who actually didn't even end up going.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Uh, wow. And Peru is never a place that, like we're talking about now, it's never been on my list of places to visit.
Yeah, we you
But
I
it
don't
is
think that
now.
bias. I think you should put it on your list, because it's an epic. It is wildly amazing.
How cool is that? And it's also about, I think my main thing is like obviously helping people as well is
Mhm.
what's something that you can share with someone that's not like in the human brain, but when something feels aligned, how do you know? Like, how did you know to go to Peru? Like, is it just something in your body that felt right?
Mm, I would say where I feel it the most is kind of like my lower sternum. It's kind of like the very top part of my ribs. It's that kind of general section of my body. There's something about there that kind of feels like it's a pull, and it's like a when I get out of my head. So it's always about coming out of the head, because the head then starts to create all these different things, and then you try to create lists of pros and cons, and then it gets all confusing up there. So coming down into the heart, coming down into the body, there's just, I don't know, there's an inner knowing. So the more that you can get in touch with yourself, which is through slowing down, which is about getting quiet, which is about being with yourself. Solitude is our biggest teacher, hence why I do like to be by myself a fair bit, because you get to hear. And the more you get to hear, the more you get to know. And then it becomes so loud sometimes that it can be quiet whispers. If something's really meant to be happening, it's quiet whispers until it yells.
Mm.
So once you start hearing the yelling, I think it's time to really be like, oh, okay, I'm hearing you. And that's just like that's not like, oh, I'm hearing voices in my head, but sometimes it actually can be in that way. But it's just the knowing that comes in when we create enough space. So having time to process life, I think, is super integral. It actually means putting aside a full day here and there to go out into nature for hours, or literally just give yourself hours to do nothing, plan nothing, don't use tech, stare at the clouds, allow yourself to be, and then things will come through.
Mm. The solitude, I think that uh, I was always someone that was always around people all the time. I love it.
Mm.
Had a lot of friends, very social. And then until 7 or 8 years ago, when my life drastically changed, I became really solo, really on my own. And I think, yeah, it's been 7 or 8 years now. And I just lap all of that up.
Mm-hmm.
Even it's just so important, people getting their own time and being with themselves. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
something that I just love being on my own. So
Mm.
much so that I have to be careful that I'm not too much on my own.
Yeah, yes, yes. That's a very fair point. Like we're humans of connection, and we do need connection, but we need it in the way that actually is is true, true connection, true community, which is raw and vulnerable and not built through looking at someone's Instagram. It's actually like face to face, eye contact. Um, you know, yeah, the community that that you can truly be just yourself with. That's what we need. And if it doesn't feel those ways, or if you leave a hangout with someone and you don't feel more and brightened and vibrating in a higher frequency, then you're in different frequencies if you're left feeling not as vibrationally, you know, uh, yeah, light, light and bubbly.
Yeah,
So
it's
yeah,
really important this time of year. I want people to, yeah, get off tech, get outside, and like you said, just stare at the clouds.
just stare at the clouds. Yeah, it's the biggest. It's one of my favorite ways to regulate is to stare at something in nature for a really long time. Clouds is always a pretty good go because they're never ending. They're going nowhere. They're going somewhere. They come, they go, and it's an infinite thing, the sky. And so when we realize that's just reflecting back to me my own infinite nature too, and you can just be lost in that for a bit rather than your own myopic life things.
Yeah, even now, like I've got trees across the road. So as we're talking, like if I look out the window, I just see these beautiful trees that are just swaying in the wind. And even
Mm-hmm.
just doing something like that, just staring at something like that,
Mm-hmm.
it's just amazing.
Peaceful. Yeah,
Really,
brings you back in. Yeah.
yeah. So it's all about trusting. Oh my gosh, so many things.
I
Like,
know. Yeah.
but this is life. This is good. This is I want everyone's listening to this for a reason. It's like trusting, surrendering and trusting, and there's a timing and everything, and that it's
Mm,
like that guy was like, he says, pause, what a pleasure, pause, what a gift. So that
mm-hmm.
is like a anything that happens to you, mainly the bad, because that triggers us. So someone has an illness, or you lose your job, or you break up with someone, you go, his thing is you pause and you say, what a gift, or you say, what a pleasure. Like he said, when he couldn't pay his rent for 6 months, what a gift. This is
Mm-hmm.
amazing. Because the more heavy it is, the more good stuff is coming. Like
Mm-hmm.
I have the light with the dark. If we had light, we wouldn't understand what the heavy feeling is. So he's
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I've like lost my job, or I'm bankrupt, or I've broken up with the love of my life. He said the last thing you're gonna feel like is going, what a gift, what a pleasure. But he's
Mm-hmm.
like, take the piss at, like, do it, like, oh, what a gift.
Mm-hmm.
Show me what's next.
Yeah, for sure. The thing you mentioned there about the pause though, just from, real time experience is it's easier said than done to pause. So if you're in a scenario that things are triggering you or reactive, and that you to create that moment to be able to decide how to respond to how you want to feel or choose how you want to react or whatever, um, that is a habit that is it's like a muscle, it's a practice, and it's a continuous practice that we don't always get right. But to create that pause in itself is there's its own tools to get there. That's why things like meditation and doing those slow moments, so that you just have you just have a little micro moment to be like, oh, I can choose. I can choose how I'm going to respond. I can choose how I can feel about this. That's kind of the biggest work, in my opinion.
Mhm.
One of the biggest works.
Yeah. God, it would have been about 10 years ago. One of my girlfriends at the time tried to tell me about this concept in a different way. And I was like, are you mad? Like, I really wasn't. I was very reactive when I was young, very, very reactive.
Yeah.
Very like, I've got something to say and I'm going to say it now. Um, she would call it the handbrake method. So she'd say if someone does something to you, work, personal, family, whatever, and you like you really want to
Mm-hmm.
go in, she's like, pull up the handbrake, park on the side of the road, you get out of the car,
Mm-hmm.
leave it, and then reply, or then get back to the person. But she'd call it the handbrake method. So I don't know if that helps anyone in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe they're like the pause, what a gift, what a pleasure is a bit too.
Too far.
I grew to get to that. So I do
Yeah.
that now. And
Yeah.
I laugh every time. I use humor a lot. And I go, oh my
Yes.
God, cool, great. What's next? Yeah, this is great. Like I
Yeah.
just use humor a lot. But
Yeah.
in saying that, someone might be like, oh, the handbrake method, I might try that. Like, wear it like a pair of shoes, try it on, what we're saying. And if it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't feel right, that's okay, because
Mm-hmm.
there'll be something else that you're going to read or listen to that you'll find your own thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. It's fun putting little things like a visual that you're saying, like pulling a handbrake. I think the breath can be a big thing though, because our breath guides our nervous system. It guides everything. So if if there's a moment that we can feel something rising or slowing down the breath, having those big sighs, and just being aware that we are breathing in and that each breath in can be always a new circumstance of how we want to receive, and breathing out is the releasing. So yeah, the breath is always there for us in everything, every moment.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, where am I going to take? I've got a bit more time. What do I want to ask you
What do you
now?
want to go into? There's so many things, so many things.
How about one of the last things that we talk about is, yeah, I think this is a good chunk to finish the podcast on. Living life is a ritual.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've talked about the energy and we've talked about letting go and all that stuff. But I feel like if we were going to wrap this up in a bow, a really
Yep.
nice way is, okay, cool. Some of the stuff that you and Ruby have talked about, give me something
Yep.
I can try. Give me something
Yeah.
on a day-to-day basis that I can maybe
Yep.
practice.
Yep. Yeah. Beautiful.
So what's a good place to start for someone that wants to live life as a ritual? Where
Mm-hmm.
what's something that we can start with, do you think?
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess I'd begin by saying that before we were just living this modern, fast-paced living, that life itself is ritual. Everything is ritualistic, um, in how we do what we do, why we do it. And I think my journey with what I would call is like mindful, where possible, mindful living. It started when I did a little bit more of the practices with Buddhist techniques and stuff like that. But little bits by bits, I would introduce into my life. So I think it's just starting with little things, and then it becomes habits that bring you back into being present and bringing you into the now, and knowing that everything is in. And so even if it's just say having a particular item right next to your laptop, and you're putting that item there because that's your item to let you know you're in here in your body. And to it's like just little things to allow you to come back and to know I'm here, I'm working, I'm here in my body. This is and just being conscious of each moment. But ritual is really now, it's become like my whole life is ritual, from how I wake up, the thoughts that I think straight away, considering what it is that I'm putting into my mind as soon as I wake up, because otherwise it can just go everywhere, go into all the things, go into the stresses, future, past, everything. So instead, starting off with being very, very highly conscious of things that you're grateful for that day, or what you want to call in for your day, or just visualizing a sense of light coming through your body, and just let that light, you know, be immersive in you, and that it's a light that's healing and expanding you and bringing a smile onto your face, and you feel it through yourself. Um, just knowing that every little thing is precious. I think when we're living quickly and we're living in the future all the time, we forget that even just the fact that we're dunking our tea bag in our tea is something that we can take in. Another lovely little Buddhist thing is like, if say you're on the bus, and just stop and consider all the elements that's gone into that bus driver, the time, who created all the timetables, every little mechanism that's been formulated, every little material, every little thing for you to be able to get on that bus and go somewhere. So it's just really bringing you back into everything is actually very full when we want to put, um, when we want to put, when we choose to live that way, should I say.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a really nice place for us to kind of to finish the episode.
I think it could be nice. Maybe I can give some just really straightforward, just like a few of rituals to put into the day. And everyone probably already has their own little things they might do. But once you start to make it a daily conscious choice as well, it just really brings you truly into being here. And so I think the shower is always a very, very important place. Even before stepping into the shower, knowing that you're cleansing yourself. Water is being used in that way for since since water is highly, highly intelligent as well. It is actually conscious in its own way. There's some really amazing research and studies on it. So knowing that you're actually here working with this element that you are made of yourself. So using that to cleanse down, giving thanks is a huge thing too. Whilst you're in water showering, giving thanks for the fact that you have this water. And then before actually ending your shower, I always love to stand there just for like 10 seconds and visually imagine everything, just everything going down into the drain going down into the pipes and going beyond. So use the power of your mind, because our mind is creating everything, and it then speaks to our body, it speaks to our energetic field, it's speaking to the universe. So know that everything that you're doing actually is, yeah, like the ripple effect affecting everything. So I'd say the shower is a great place. And my big one as one take home is eating. Every time we're eating, because we can, until the last like year, I would eat whilst I'm multitasking, eating whilst working, eating whilst walking, eating whilst talking or watching something. And I've just stopped that now because I'm realizing I'm not actually respecting and honoring the fact that I have this intelligence, which is created from the universe, this food here that has, it's there for me to nourish my body and support my soul. I should take a moment to really honor that and actually taste the food, close my eyes, be with the experience of eating like they would be doing thousands of years ago as well, rather than just, you know, not even realizing you're eating or eating your emotions if you're feeling emotions at the same time. Like be very, very considerate of what you're doing with your food. And that's a huge thing about my eating. My relationship with food that I've gone through in my time has been around conscious and mindful eating as well. So, yeah.
Thank you. That's really, really beautiful ways that we can start like rituals. So I just want to thank you for taking the time today and for sharing. This is a conversation I think we're going to have of many. I think there's so many things, so many hidden gems that you can share with us. And it's just, yeah, thank you for spending the time today to talk to us.
Thank you, Barbara. It's been a delight. It's actually lit me up as well doing this with you. And I look forward to doing many more. I feel like there's many other, even taboo topics we could jump into.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm ready for those ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
let's do that. So, okay. So first of all, before we wrap up, where can people find you if they want to connect with you?
yeah, beautiful. So I believe that you can put it in the bio with our Zensi Retreat on Instagram or on our website. And I do have my personal Instagram. I've been off Instagram though for the last few months, and I haven't really worked on it in the way that I would like it to be. But that is something for next year's intentions, to put some space into that, just so I can be perceived in the way that I feel actually is aligned to who I am and what I do even further, and share as well. Really be there to be a place of vulnerability, authenticity, and inspiration, I hope. So yeah, we can also put my personal Instagram on the bio too, if that's cool with you.
Perfect. We'll do that. Well, yeah, thank you so much. I can't wait for people to connect with you and to learn more. And I just, I know people will probably have more questions about the whole Peru thing too. Like that definitely sparked interest of, oh my
Mm.
gosh, like that sounds so, well,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's another whole topic. We can definitely deepen into many parts of what that was.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah. We're going to have you back on. So I'm not going to say thank you so much. I'm going to say look forward to speaking with
Good.
you soon.
Yeah, look forward to it. Thank you so much, Barbara. Appreciate you.